So, James Harden, for the third time in 5 years, has given up on a team, demanded a trade, and gotten his way. And I do find it pretty fitting James Harden, the guy who dubbed his time in Brooklyn scary hours, was then traded to Los Angeles in the middle of the night on Halloween. Couldn't write a better script. Now, looking at the overall trade, I would say it is pretty lopsided, looking at just pure name value. And if you're Philadelphia, it's not a great haul, but probably the best you could have gotten. As having Harden on your roster, you're boxed into a really tight corner with an unhappy superstar and 29 other teams who know his attitude, know his track record, and most importantly, know his age. And look, people are kind of freaking out about this trade, losing their minds. I'm just sitting here in the morning kind of being, meh, Harden got traded. I don't think it's that much of a blockbuster trade. What I would kind of equate it to is having a grilled cheese sandwich that already has cheese and adding more cheese on top of it. Yeah, that cheese might make it taste a little bit better, but you've already got enough cheese. And with this cheese you're adding, there's a 40% chance it turns bad, starts growing mold, and then demands a trade. Kind of similar to Bradley Beal going to the Suns. A heavily focused offensive team getting another heavily focused offensive player. And look, don't get me wrong, if Harden, Russ, Kawhi, and PG were on the same team back in 2017, I would be over the moon and ecstatic. But it's almost 2024, let's face reality, folks. And unfortunately in this trade, the biggest winner is James Harden, the individual, yet again getting his way, something that absolutely baffles me. And look, in the short term, Harden, yes, did get his way and is the winner. But in the long term, if he yet again fails to win a championship with a stacked team, that overall resume is a pretty spotty 10 to 15 years from now. As looking at his teammate help, he's had Westbrook 3 times, KD twice, Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, Kyrie, Joel, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. That's MVPs, NBA champions, and Finals MVPs galore. To have 0 championships that much help is simply inexcusable. And just so we're clear, the Clippers before this trade I didn't think won the title, and afterwards, I feel the exact same way. As watching them before Harden got there, with PG, Kawhi, and Westbrook kind of figuring it out, it was getting pretty exciting. But now getting James Harden, yet again a wrench is thrown into the equation. And for Clippers management, this is a huge gamble, as instead of building off last year with Russell Westbrook as your point guard, you're now putting James Harden in there with a proven track record of quitting and giving up. And like with every Clippers team since 2020, health is the overall question, as PG in 5 years has barely played over 190 games with the Clippers, compared to Kawhi, who hasn't even cracked 170. And then you add on James Harden, a little overweight, out of shape, not the healthiest dude in the world, and of course Westbrook, who's getting up there in age. And it is kind of fascinating looking back on it, how the 2021 Nets are the most impactful team of this decade, and it's not even close. As what they spawned from the big three of Kyrie, KD, and Harden was an absolute mess around the NBA. As seeing someone like James Harden have 3 trade requests, it makes teams pretty wary to take chances on older players who have a dodgy history like Harden. And then for someone like Kevin Durant in Phoenix, look, it's basically Brooklyn 2.0, as his 2 co-stars already are injured and hurt. And of course Kyrie didn't get his way to the Lakers, but ended up in Dallas out of that Nets turmoil. The Nets' tentacles from 2021, they spread far and wide. And out of these 3 stars from Brooklyn, I would say Kyrie actually has the best situation and most stable place in Dallas. But looking at the Clippers with Harden, I'm going to be watching them very, very closely. And look, they're going to put up fireworks, be exciting, and have some big time games. But just remember, Harden's first game in Brooklyn with Kyrie and KD. Kyrie had 37, KD had 38, and Harden himself had a triple-double. But what happened? They lost that game, gave 145 points, in the end were hurt, injured, come playoff time. His first game in Philly with Joel Embiid, 27 points, Embiid had 34. It's the next Shaq and Kobe. They're going to dominate, win the championship. They're going to run the East. What happened? The exact same thing. So yes, there will be fireworks in Los Angeles. There'll be nights where Harden looks fantastic. But Harden at this age doesn't have vintage James Harden every single night. And like last year in the playoffs, when it gets the big time nut crunch moments, really games 5 through 7, this guy always disappears. And looking at Philadelphia, the haul they got back, of course, not that impressive. But for Philly, what's most important is addition by subtraction. What I mean by that is having someone like Tyrese Maxey be unleashed. As behind James Harden, Maxey in this deal is the biggest winner of this trade. And if you watch any Philly games so far, Maxey through his first 3 games has been simply fantastic. And that all-star leap we wanted him to take, he's definitely taking. As even last year without James Harden in 2023, the numbers he put up in 13 games were pretty impressive, averaging nearly 25 points, 5.4 assists, 4 boards on 47-43 and 80 splits. And for Maxey at last, who's behind Ben Simmons, behind James Harden, now this guy finally gets the keys to show what he can do. That right there is a silver lining for 76ers fans. But looking back at the Clippers, in the post-James Harden trade, I think the tiers in the West are still pretty definitive. You have the Nuggets, semi-contenders, and then everyone else. The Clippers, they're in that tier 2 with the Warriors, the Lakers, the Sacramento Kings, maybe OKC, that type of tier of team in the NBA playoffs. So again, forgive me if I'm not jumping over the moon and excited about James Harden going to the Clippers. It's kind of meh. I've seen this movie 3 different times, and as you guys know, the third movie in a trilogy is never better than the original or the sequel. And James Harden and the Clippers will indeed once again fail miserably. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.